My search for God started at the age of 33 when I lost my mother, and I'd known him most of my childhood. I had had a lot of spiritual experiences in the past, but I'd never seen him as such. I used to get messages which could be just my mind or intuition, but as a child, I always thought it was my God talking to me. And I think many of us are going through that journey, have gone through that journey. So I can talk about my journey. Everyone's spiritual journey is different. When my yearning for God became so much that I couldn't bear it, that is when I started reading a lot of books. And that was when I discovered that most of the spiritual books that I read, something inside me or someone inside me was familiar with the content of those books. I studied in a convent, and I had no idea about Hindu scriptures, uh, but everything was very familiar. This made me wonder, how come I have never read these books? How do I know all these things or some of those things? So the query went on. So in one of the books, I think it was Vivekananda's book, it said that you have to find a guru at a certain stage in life. Otherwise, when you are ready, the master will appear in your life. This gave me some satisfaction. I said, I can't go looking for a guru or a master. I don't even know what they look like or sound like. But okay, if it's true that he'll find me, then I'll wait. And in a few months' time, I did meet someone who introduced me to my spiritual guru. I was very skeptical about gurus and godmen and sannyasis. I was told to be careful and stay away from them. So I went just because I couldn't bear my yearning for God, and I needed answers. So I decided to join one of these group meetings that we used to have in our area, and the teacher said, just keep coming. So initially it was a bit boring because I wasn't getting my answers, but as time went on, I started having more experiences, and actually the teacher could answer many of my questions, and she knew from where those questions were coming, because the spiritual journey of all of us is similar, and she was ahead, but on the same path. She had had those experiences, similar experiences. She had made her own discoveries. She had got answers from her guru, and so she could understand where I was coming from. 12, 13, 14 years down the line, I had answers to most of my questions theoretically. I had had some experiences, but still, I don't know what self-realization is. Though this was Gyan Satsang, so it had nothing to do with Kriya Yoga or Karam Yoga. Yeah, Nishkam Seva is where you do Seva without thinking of getting any result. You do good karma, but don't think of any results. You are an instrument, and that nature or God is actually using you as an instrument, working through you. So I used to, something inside me could understand these things, but I still could not put my finger on the question, who is God or what is God? And I remember I used to function from the intellect, from the mind, and it was all about question answers, reasoning, and logic, and I could literally feel the energy here. It was functioning from here, And somehow when I used to see some of the devotees who were so full of love, so full of compassion, so um, spontaneous, they would just hug each other, they would be there for each other, there was so much unconditional love. I just couldn't find that kind of energy inside me. I wanted it, but I was too much in my head. And I used to wonder, when will this energy go down to the heart chakra, and how can I also become so compassionate and so loving? Somehow I knew that was the goal I was working towards. It did happen after a few more years. The energy that I used to feel here went down to the heart. And as it went down to the heart, I started functioning from the heart. So it's a happening. It's not something you do purposely. It just happens. And I know the moment it happened. And after that, everything I did came from the heart. Now the energy I could feel here rather than in my head. And this was a very loving energy, a very compassionate energy, and it had a really nice feel to it. So I found that this energy was like not just for human beings, it was there with animals, with plants, with nature, with everything. There was a kind of unconditional love for everything. It was a beautiful energy. It is a beautiful energy. And I was more of a karam yogi. I could do karam, nishkam karam, and I practiced that I should not feel I am the doer. There is some other power that functions through me. And then I got into healing at the same time, and many miraculous things happened. I could easily make out there was some other power functioning through me. I wasn't the healer. I was nothing, but I was being used by a higher part, and I loved that because my God, my friend, someone I loved, was at least using me for a higher purpose. He didn't appear in front of me like I would have liked him to, but he made his presence very clear. So he became the anchor in my life, and life became beautiful. In healing, I asked them, which God do you believe in? Just so that I can then talk about some mantra. To a Christian, I would say light a candle. To a Hindu, I will use the word diya. If someone is a Muslim, I would ask them to read something from their scripture. Everyone that I came across, I tried to give them this, show them this light, But I was taken aback when one day a girl came to me and I said, which God do you believe in? And she said, I don't believe in any God. And I said, so you don't know any mantra, you don't know anything? She said, no, my parents didn't introduce me to anything. I asked the parent and she said that we didn't want to. Now that was when I felt, that an anchor is needed in life. I'd say even if there's no God, but just to hold on to something. If you have a name, if you have a mantra, if you have a philosophy, something to hold on to other than the materialistic things, it makes a difference. Buddhists do chanting, Arya Samajis would do Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Sikhs would do Ek Omkar. So Christians would do Our Father in Heaven, prayers to Mother Mary. In some way you believe in a higher power, someone who's stronger than you, someone who's there for you when you are not capable, when you're very sick, when you're very hurt, when the world is just not there for you. Then this higher power is something you can bank upon. I call it an anchor because that's the word that comes to me. Now see, I believe in that power. I think our ancestors knew about that too. But to the layman, they introduced God in their own language. It's like I'm speaking English to people who understand English. If there's a French person, I would speak in French. If there is a Hindi speaking person, I would speak in Hindi. It's just because they would understand the dialect. So I feel that God was introduced to different cultures in their own language. In India, we have Ramayana and Mahabharat, which are long epics. But we see a similar depiction of these in Thailand, in Indonesia. The same stories are depicted on their walls, in their temples. But the Rama in India is a more Indian-looking Rama. In Thailand, it would be more Thai-looking Rama. But the stories are similar, and the paintings or the sculptures are similar. So I think our ancestors were trying to point out to us there are divine forces. All our saints, masters, prophets have pointed towards a higher power. All have said they are instrumental. They've been asked to impart the knowledge they are imparting. They have been always very humble and grounded, and they always talk about something higher. I know most people are saying that they are atheist. I have no problem with that. But do think about this, that if you give your children something to hold on to when you're not around, or when the world around them shatters, that thread is something which will be there for them to hold on to. It will be important because it will be a reminder of you. It has been handed over by the mother or the father or the family. The only thing is, we should not fall prey to superstitions and make our children strong and educate them. So a central power is important for our psyche, I would say, for our mental health, for us to anchor on to something. This is my belief. You can agree to disagree, but as a healer, I feel that whatever traditions we have, the culture we have, we can respect that to some extent, and it's easier for the children to follow their own culture. It's like your language, you're born into it, so it's happening all around you. It's very easy to say that these are all foolish things. But why would you think your ancestors were foolish? They were as intelligent as you, but they had to find out ways to involve you and to help you to find the power within you to fight the environment, the society, and other ups and downs of life. And this is how they decided to do it. So do think about it, and those who already believe in a God, I think to some extent they'll agree to what I'm saying. Those who don't, think about it. There's no harm. You'll be just giving your children something to hold on to when you're not around.